Effect of water on performing an acid acceptance test. This is a follow-up on the training video from TechChem's acid acceptance instructional video for vapor degreasing solvents. We want to show the importance of taking the appropriate solvent sample from the vapor degreaser for the acid acceptance test that is not too contaminated with water, which will affect the results of the test. The stabilized solvents used for vapor degreasing, like trichloroethylene, perchloroethylene, methylene chloride, and N-propyl bromide, are all heavier than water. You can actually see separation of water and solvent from a sample. This is the same concept that occurs with a water separator on your vapor degreaser, which separates the water and solvent, which occurs through the vapor condensation process and promotes the longevity of the solvent. The water portion on the separator should be drained off on a regular basis to avoid contamination, which could lead to the vapor degreaser going acidic or giving you extra water in the samples you use for acid acceptance. Samples for acid acceptance testing are taken from the spray wand, which uses solvent from the solvent portion of the water separator. It is recommended to drain off the water valve of the water separator each day to keep it running efficiently. Refer to your manual from the equipment manufacturer on retrieving the solvent from the correct drain on the water separator and also maintaining it. It is good practice to use the 2 milliliter solvent sample required for the acid acceptance test from the bottom of the sample you retrieve. Remember, the solvent will go to the bottom as it is heavier than the water. The water will be the top layer. Now we will perform a test to show the effect of water on the acid acceptance test. We tested a blank with the acid acceptance solution and came up with a 50 for B value on your acid acceptance test. We are going to test 2 samples, both using 10 milliliters of stabilized solvent and 10 milliliters of distilled water, and let it sit 60 minutes. On the first sample, we are going to retrieve a sample from the bottom of the test tube, which is the solvent portion, and add the acid acceptance solution and shake it and let it sit for 5 minutes. We will call this sample 1. On the second sample, we are going to shake the test tube and retrieve a sample from the mixed solution. We will add the acid acceptance solution and let it sit for 5 minutes. We will call this sample 2. We will complete the acid acceptance test on both samples. Sample 1 turned blue in 5 drops, and subtracting it from the blank of 50 shows a delta of 45, which is in normal operating range. Sample 2 turned blue at over 45 drops, and subtracting it from the blank of 50 shows a delta of 5, which tells us to discard the solvent as it is unacceptable. You can see how different the results were and how much water can be a factor. Make sure you take a look at the sample you test from the vapor degreaser and look for any separation and use the proper sample retrieval we discussed to get the most accurate results. TechChem, providing technical support for the precision cleaning industry.